So here's the template for the back insert to a CD case, and this is the traditional type of CD case, not the slim jewel ones. And the first thing I would recommend you doing is looking over this and seeing what the different things mean. The blue line indicates this is safe to put text, so inside of here. And the pink line indicates the bleed line. That will get trimmed off, but that's how far out the ink color needs to go so that there's not an awkward white outline once it's trimmed. The black solid line is where you'll trim, and these little tick marks are what you'll use to trim with. The dotted line is where those will fold. If you take a look at a traditional CD case cover, it's pretty easy to see what those are. There's usually the name on each of these of the band, or at least on the one that's for the spine, and I highly recommend grabbing a CD case to take a look at that to figure out which one you're putting type on. So to work with this file, what I would suggest doing is grab your rectangle marquee tool, make sure it's not feathered or anything, it's 0%, and click right on top of that top left corner for the bleed and drag it all the way down to the bottom right corner. And then in your layers, right click, oh sorry, not right click, click on the little drop down and choose new group and name this insert. Click OK. And then click the add layer mask button. What this just did is it took that selection you made and applied it to this folder. So now when we make new files, or not new files, new layers, they will be inside of this folder with this layer mask applied to every single one of them. So now if I grabbed a color to fill my CD template with, I can see that it didn't go all the way out to the edge of the paper, so I'm not wasting ink. It's nice and tidy, and I can still see my tick marks. So it's important to work in some sort of method where you will still be able to see your tick marks and you're not wasting a lot of ink. Using a folder with a layer mask is a suggestion that I think will help you quite a bit. Now, there's a problem though. Looking at this, I can't see where any of my marks are. So there's a couple things you can do. You can click once on the background layer, copy it by hitting Command J, and then click and drag it up to the top of your layers, and then set the blend mode to multiply. Multiply, multiply, multiply. There it is. And then click the little lock icon, and that will make it so you won't accidentally select it and move things, and you'll be able to see where those different lines are. Now on this particular JPEG, I actually have set up some guidelines already, which should have saved when you should be there. They should be there, let's just say that. To turn them on, go up to View and choose Show, and then click on Guides. And these bright blue guidelines will pop up showing you where the trim line is and where those folds are. Now you can add another set if you'd like for where the safe area is. I figured that was actually running into a whole lot more guidelines and would be more visually confusing, which is why I didn't put them on this template. But these lines do not print. Guidelines are there simply to guide, and you can turn them off and on really easy by Command semicolon, or by going back up to the same place in the menu where we turn them on. Once you get all of your design done, you want to make sure that you turn off this top layer before printing, because you don't want any of these little dotted lines and things to print. And once you've print, so this is what it would look like. There'd be art and wonderfulness there that you designed. Then to trim, you'd take a ruler, and I'm going to just create a layer here so I can kind of mock up a ruler for you and you can see what I'm talking about. You would take a ruler and line it up with those tick marks, and then grab a nice sharp X-Acto knife, or anyway, something with a razor blade. And I recommend using the utility knife razor blade style. So it's a retractable razor blade that has little notches in it that you can clip them off as the blade dulls and renew them. And I like buying the smaller ones, so not the great big huge box cutters, but the smaller box cutter utility knives with the break off blades. Anyway, as long as you have a really sharp blade, this will work great. When you cut, do not cut from the very top of the paper to the other side of the paper, because if you did that, my tick marks for this side would fall off and I wouldn't have any way to know how far in I needed to move the ruler. So with your knife, put it on top of that top tick mark, butt the ruler up against it, and then with holding that ruler down really nice, just cut a line from about the top of that tick mark to the top of the other tick mark. And that way you won't be losing any of your tick marks. And then when you cut the next piece, you'd rotate your ruler. And this will be so much easier in real life. Obviously, demoing this in Photoshop is not the best way, but I don't actually have a little video camera to give you a literal demonstration of trimming. You turn your ruler and then do the same to the other side, and you can easily place it by just putting your blade on the tick mark first, moving the ruler up against it, then pressing down real good hard on that ruler so it doesn't move anywhere, and drawing that blade down. Again, you don't want to cut much further than from the tip of one tick mark to the tip of the other one. And do that to all sides and you'll have a nicely trimmed, ready to go piece of work.